Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. We'll lead off with volleyball and head coach Joe Getson. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having us again.
We picked a good year to do the show, right? You guys are off to an amazing start this year. Another weekend on the road, and just picked up another 4 wins, right?
Well, yeah, it's been a fun start to the season, so we're excited to see how that carries over into the conference.
All right. Well, let's talk about the games that you had this past weekend. UW Parkside Invitational, the Hampton Inn Invitational, and you open up. Was this another early morning like you had the previous
Earlier
weekend?
morning, it was
Earlier.
actually 8 a.m., so that starts getting into the 5 o'clock world, and that's a little early for most of us. But I thought the girls handled it really well, and we came out and took care of business. I think one of the things that's happening is we're kind of getting into a little bit of a rhythm, and while we have played a lot of different players, it's given us an opportunity to kind of see who's capable of doing what. And I think throughout the weekend we started to hone in a little bit more on the lineup.
All right. So now, do you think about changing the times on your schedule to make them earlier to match with what you've had so far?
No.
No,
We'll stay with the
you're gonna
evening
keep-
matches.
All right. Let's start with the game against McKendree. That was a 3-0 win for you guys. Walk us through that match and tell us what happened.
Well, I thought, like I said, it was early morning, and I thought the girls did a really good job of being focused and playing a real consistent level of volleyball. And McKendree in the past has been, we've seen them 2 years ago, I think, out in Los Angeles. They're good in their conference every year, so I think it was a good test for us. And I thought we handled what they threw at us very well, and then put it back on them.
All right. As we've said, you have a pretty good mix of different classes, youth, and then you have Alexis as your senior. But a lot of your younger players are really stepping up this year. Are you at all surprised about that, or do you kind of know that kind of going into the season?
Well, with only having one senior, we knew we were going to have to rely on some of the younger players. And they got some good experience last year, kind of thrown into the fire because of injuries. And I think that's really paying off now.
All right, you had Madison Reisner do a really good job. Madison Larson played well in that first set of games, and then you had a tough one against Quincy. That one went 5 sets.
Well, I think against Quincy, they were a talented team. They just didn't know how, they hadn't put it together yet. And so did some good things, and we didn't respond really well from that. Hopefully that's a lesson that I think we learned from. And we got ourselves in a little bit of a hole in the 5th game, yet I think the thing that they persevered and stuck with it and put the pressure back on Quincy, and they broke down, and we took advantage of that and ended up winning a close one.
All right, so it was 9-4 in that final game.
You don't have to bring that up.
Well, I want to ask you how you approach something like that, because obviously you're only a few points away from a possible loss, and then you end up rallying and get the win.
Well, I can't really take any credit for that. I think the girls did a really good job of just staying focused. In my mind, with that kind of lead in volleyball, you don't come back from that very often. And, you just sit there and go, okay, now what? And the girls really just persevered, and I said, put pressure on them, and they folded a little bit, and then we took advantage of it and walked away with a win, so that's huge.
All right, so our guest is Bree Maloney. She'll be coming on in just a few minutes, but eye-popping numbers once again in that first couple of games. 81 assists over the first 2 games of this past weekend. Talk us through what she brings to the team.
Well, as you know, the setter is kind of like the quarterback of the team, or a point guard. She's the one that distributes the ball. I think Bree does a really good job of finding the hot hitter, staying with that. She is the leader on the court. On and off the court, we rely on her heavily to make sure the girls are ready to go. And comebacks like that happen because Bree doesn't give up, and that's kind of her heritage and who she's been all throughout her career, not only here but in high school and so forth. And we ride that quite heavily, and she's awesome. She's very good at that.
All right, let's talk about day 2 then. UW Parkside, you played the host, and then Purdue Northwest. Walk us through those.
Well, Parkside, being a home tournament, they had a pretty good crowd, and they were excited to play us. I thought we handled them well in the first 2 sets. I think we had a little bit of a lapse in the 3rd set, maybe let up a little bit, something that we've talked about. afterwards, just that we can't afford to do that in our conference. That teams aren't just going to quit, and even though they're down 0-2, especially a home team, something like that. But then I think we came back really strong in the fourth set and had our best match, or best set in that match against them.
All right. I want to ask about the Purdue Northwest game, because according to the stats, you had 9 different Warriors that had at least 1 kill. Is that kind of important to have several different players be able to?
Well, what you want to do is, just like anything else, like in a football team, you don't want just that one person carrying the ball. You want to be able to spread it out so they don't know where it's going. I think we had a couple hot hitters in the sense of no one was going to stop Paige, as an example, in that match. So in a situation like that, that's one thing, but the more that you can spread the ball around, the more frustrating it is for the other team. And they were a team where we were handling very well, and we were able to get some young kids more experience. And I think that's the key, that no matter what, when we put different people in, I thought we did a great job of, there wasn't a drop-off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned Paige. She had 11 kills in that Purdue Northwest game. So now you're heading into conference season. So how have these preseason, early season games helped you out to get ready for conference season?
Well, I think if I look at the top 25 and receiving votes, there's 10 teams, if I counted right. That's quite a few, just from our conference. And within that, we know we're walking into a gauntlet that we're going to have to play well night in and night out. Now it really just becomes, they can't all, I think there's 7 teams undefeated. That's going to go away really quick, and it's going to be who handles that best mentally, who still believes after maybe taking a loss, who can come back from something like that. You're going to have to bring your A game every night, and that's hard. There's very few teams that do that day in and day out, and so it's going to be that consistency that we start looking for now. I think the preseason gave us an opportunity to play a lot of different people, kind of find out who can do what, and we realize how deep we are. So we have lots of different options. If it isn't working against St. Cloud with this, we can go with plan B and give them a different look. So I think it lends itself to a very good season coming up.
All right, and then eventually you will have some home games. That won't be until September 27th, but eventually you'll be back on your home court. So.
And that's going to be huge. I wish we can't do anything about the conference. They set the schedule, being on the road the first weekend, but we try every year to try host one of our own tournaments, and we just haven't had enough teams to fill it. So I guess the positive in that is we won on the road, and we know we can do that going into conference. So.
All right, very good. We're going to take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, Bree Maloney will join us right after this.
If your home is like mine, everything begins and ends on the internet. In fact, the average home now uses 7 wireless devices each day. Make sure you have the bandwidth for homework, live chats, and streaming with fast, reliable internet from broadband.
Power all your devices with HBC high-speed internet and get up to 1,000 megabits per second. Lightning-fast internet that fits all your family's needs. So call or visit hbci.com today.
Brand new kids, brand new challenges.
You know what that means?
A brand new season of Kids Baking Championship.
Most fun cake I've ever made.
Wow, am I excited to bite into this.
Topping your giant donut with regular donuts.
Yeah.
Those decorating skills are going to come out. Fun, right? Wow. Who will beat the competition to become Kids Baking Champion? All new Kids Baking Championship, Monday night at 9 on Food Network.
Less weight, more speed.
Meanest looking mini on the market. Look at the size of this place.
We got a bigger shop, bigger overheads. We're gonna have to step up the game.
This is the coolest thing ever.
It's a real transformer.
Super clean, nice and mean.
That's what a race car sounds like.
Goblin Works Garage. New episodes every Wednesday at 9 on Motor Trend.
The Red Sox are 1 out away. And the Dodgers are down to their final strike. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series. And the best team in baseball wins it all.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. Bree Maloney is now here. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I have to ask, since this is the first time that we've had a chance to meet you and sit down with you, let's talk a little bit about your high school days. You're from Roseville.
Yes.
And it's amazing to me that you started playing varsity volleyball when you were in 7th grade. Had a little bit of action there, and then you became the school's full-time setter in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Talk about being on the varsity team at that young of an age.
I mean, like Coach always says, the setter's kind of the leader in the position, and being so young, I was kind of scared at first to take that leadership role, especially as like an 8th grader, but once my personality's pretty outgoing, so once I just got more comfortable, it was easier for me to just take over, and it taught me a lot of lessons because I had so many years in high school that I was able to bring into college and bring towards my game.
So had you played with a lot of those players before, so they kind of knew you and they kind of accepted you as the leader early on?
Yeah, most of them accepted me. Some of the other setters were kind of upset, but they were pretty good at accepting that. I didn't really play with them that much before because I was more with my age group. But after my 7th grade year, once I took a bigger role in my 8th grade year, everyone was really accepting and supportive.
All right, now I imagine you probably didn't follow the numbers quite then like us in the media do, but you became the school's all-time leading setter as a sophomore. Talk us through that, tell us about that and what that was like to set that record.
I think that what's really important about records and individual goals is that you can't get them unless your team's really good or your team is doing well. So getting those were awesome, but it was just a show that my hitters were so good when I was in 8th grade and stuff. And other setters maybe had to wait till their junior year or senior year to start. And the way the timing worked out and the way that the skill level worked out, I got to go earlier. So I got that a little earlier than other people.
All right. And then you ended up being only the 7th player in Minnesota State high school history with 4,000 assists, which is amazing. Yeah. There you go.
Perfect, yeah.
See? Told you didn't watch the numbers. That's more of us. So then talk us through the decision about coming here to Winona State. How did you find out about the college, and how did you ultimately decide to come here?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to do D2 volleyball. I knew that just my personality and I wanted to balance school is really important to me, and volleyball is important to me. And then the NSIC is like the best D2 conference there is. So I knew I wanted to be in the NSIC. And I'm from the city, so I'm from kind of a big town, so I didn't want to go to a school that was like 2,000 people. So then that limited it down. And then I was between here and a couple other schools, but here felt the most like supportive and home-like. It felt like everyone wanted you to do well and succeed, and I really liked that. So.
All right. So for the decision to bring Bree here, obviously you look at numbers, you look at stats, and that sort of thing. But what else was it that you decided to bring Bree here?
Well, quite honestly, I didn't realize she was that talented, with 4,000. Holy cow. No, her personality, her leadership skills, the way that she ran the floor, the command, for lack of a better term, of her teammates and the respect they had for her. And you could see that in high school, you could see that in club as well. And, she's carried it forward, and that's the neat part of it.
All right, so and then club, you won a couple of national championships as well. Tell us about that.
That was sweet. It was our 15th year, and we won both national championships, and that's just such a good feeling because you work so hard in club, and there's so many teams because it's all over the nation. So not all the time you get that, oh, we're the best, but it's so good. It's just a good feeling to feel like you're actually the best because we were that year.
All right, and then how was the transition then from the high school and club game to college?
What was really helpful, I had a lot of teammates that also played club volleyball, so they knew they wanted to win. And something that was really awesome about our team, we weren't always the biggest or the most powerful team, but we were definitely the scrappiest and the most filled with heart. We always wanted to win. So going from club, where we have maybe more skilled players but not as much hustle or heart, to high school, where we have all we want to do is win and we'll put whatever on the floor. So it was an easy transition for me because that's kind of my style of play. I'm not the biggest setter and I'm not the strongest setter, but I will hustle until the ball is up.
All right. And then you're off to the last question here. You're off to a great start. How do you keep that going with you and the rest of the team?
Our team this year is really close, and we have set really hard goals, and we know what we have to do to get there, so we just keep pushing every day. It comes through practice and games and off the court. We talk about nutrition and sleeping, so every aspect of our life goes in to this team and this year and this season because we want to do well so bad.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us here today, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk women's soccer. That's coming up right after this.
We are back.
If you missed a second of Empire,
we did bad things, and it's coming back to collect.
Catch up anytime before this September for the premiere of Empire's final season.
I thought we had each other's back, and that's what we do.
I gotta put me first. Andre! You tried to kill my baby! No!
Before Empire returns this September for the final season, catch up anytime on demand or Fox Now.
America's favorite dance show is back to blow your mind.
You're a star.
That was not only great, that was the definition of the natural born gift.
So you think you can dance Mondays or watch anytime on demand or Fox Now.
If your home is like mine, everything begins and ends on the internet. In fact, the average home now uses 7 wireless devices each day. Make sure you have the bandwidth for homework, live chats, and streaming with fast, reliable internet from broadband.
Power all your devices with HBC high-speed internet and get up to 1,000 megabits per second. Lightning fast internet that fits all your family's needs. So call or visit hbci.com today.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're now joined by Matt Kellogg of WSU Women's Soccer. Thanks for being here again today.
Thanks for having us.
So the last time that we talked to you, you were just about to start your season, and now you have 2 games under your belt. Let's talk a little bit about those 2 games and kind of how the program is going right now. First, out of the gate, you have to play the regular season NSIC champs. What was that like to have to prepare for that game this season?
That's, you want to test yourself early to kind of figure out where you're at. Preseason, you get tired playing against your own team. So you want to go out and kick somebody new, so to speak. So it was great to kind of see where we're at. And I thought we did very well. Very happy with our young players, very happy with our returners stepping up into bigger roles this year. So we created a lot of chances. Just need to tweak a couple things defensively, and I think we walk away with a win.
All right. Before we get into the details of that, you said that it was good to be against somebody else. You had a couple of scrimmages that kind of led up to that in August. How did that prepare you to get ready for your first regular season game?
Well, I think anytime you're looking at the season, you want to kind of gradually increase. And St. Mary's is here. It's local. It's a good matchup. They're always very well organized. They threw us a different look than we're used to seeing. So, and then you have Luther right after that. Again, okay, now how do we adapt to what we saw against St. Mary's? Are the kids able to adjust and make those changes? And so it's kind of just that gradual increase, and then you hit the regular season and you're off and running. So I thought the 2 scrimmages were a great setup for us.
So what's the difference in play, in strategy, going up against a Division II opponent, other than the scrimmages that you had leading up to that?
I think our mentality, no matter who we're going to scrimmage, is, in the scrimmages, we want to almost, I take my cue from NFL preseason, is we're going to script out, okay, the first 15 minutes, no matter what's going on, here's our group, and then we're going to make a change regardless if we're up or down. So we're really limiting kind of reps for players and making sure that we're seeing everybody in all sorts of different situations, so that as a coaching staff we can start to make actual adjustments and decisions on, okay, who plays well together, what pairings are good, and where we need to work on things.
Okay, and then against Bemidji, you were able to score the first goal of the game. Tell me about your thoughts at that point of where you were and what you were doing in the game, getting the lead against Bemidji.
I thought we executed our game plan very well. First half we got some chances. I think it's the first game, so I think both sides were a little bit nervous, a little bit tentative. That's why you didn't see a lot of goals in the first half. Second half, we talked to them at halftime about taking care of our opportunities, playing aggressively, getting numbers forward, and that's what happened. So from the coaching staff situation, we're sitting there and we're like, this is exactly where we should be. This is where we want to be. And then the game goes on, and it's like you said, regular season champs last year. They don't go down easily. They fought back, And so they got the equalizer, and then they got another one. You could see the momentum kind of visibly swing in their direction. And that's just something a young team that we have needs to learn from, and I think we learned our lesson.
I mean, it's hard to say since it's the first game of the season, but did Bemidji adapt and you didn't, or what led to that momentum swing?
I think it was just a case of a couple of our players, we just switched off for just the briefest of moments. And, against a great team, you can't do that. They're going to take advantage of it. And that's exactly what happened. So I don't think it was they adjusted, we didn't. I think it was just we kind of, so to speak, fell asleep for about 5 seconds. And that's all it took.
Okay. You had the shot advantage, 11-9, 7-5 on goal. So you're definitely getting there and look good against Bemidji. So then you had to travel to Northern Michigan. Tell us a little bit about that opponent and how that game went.
Northern Michigan, I mean, having come from the GLIAC, I'm very familiar with Northern Michigan. The kids that get up there, this is what I told our team at halftime, is you don't go to the UP because you're soft and you're weak. You're a hardy kid, and we knew that they were going to fight right up until the end, and that's exactly what they did. We got up 3-0, made some changes, some personnel changes, and Northern, to their credit, they continued to fight and they took advantage of that, and they got 2 goals back, and we made some adjustments and were able to hold on. So I think, just the growth we had from Bemidji, where we had the lead and then let it slip away, I think that's a great learning experience, is that at Northern, we had the lead. We started to lose it, but we were able to hold on to it. So anytime you can do that on the road, especially a 7-hour bus trip up to the UP, that's not easy. So we're very proud of the way the players responded.
Sounds like it was kind of a wild game, combined 33 shots between the two teams.
I told you last time we were on, it was going to be an exciting season.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so then you take UW Parkside, which by the time that this airs, the match will already be done, and then you'll open up conference and a home season against Minnesota State Mankato. So what do you do, obviously now, between those matches to kind of get ready for the rest of the regular season?
Yeah, we're still looking at Parkside. This is going to be a great test for us because on paper, Parkside is not having the best start to their season. They've played some great opponents and come up just a little bit short. So I think this is a very easy game to overlook for our team. And I think that's going to test their mental toughness. Okay, treat every opponent the same, go into every game with the expectations of playing your best, and basically show them the respect that they deserve. And if we can, take it to them, but give our best effort.
All right, last minute or so, for you and for the coaching staff and even the players, I guess, going from conference opponent, non-conference opponent, then back to conference opponent, does that change the way that you prepare for the games?
Not really. We don't have a very large non-conference schedule. So for NCAA rankings, postseason, at-large bids, that type of thing, we need to take every game as a must-win. If we were to drop all 3 of our non-conference games, all of a sudden that could come back to bite us in the end of the season for an at-large bid. So every game for us is equally important, conference or non-conference.
All right, very good. We're going to take a break here on Warrior Report. When we come back, Courtney Weinsteck will join us right after this.
If your home is like mine, everything begins and ends on the internet. In fact, the average home now uses 7 wireless devices each day. Make sure you have the bandwidth for homework, live chats, and streaming with fast, reliable internet from broadband.
Power all your devices with HBC high-speed internet and get up to 1,000 megabits per second. Lightning-fast internet that fits all your family's needs. So call or visit hbci.com today.
We are back.
If you missed a second of Empire,
We did bad things, and it's coming back to collect.
catch up anytime before this September for the premiere of Empire's final season.
I thought we had each other's back, and that's what we do.
I gotta put me first. Andre! You tried to kill my baby! No!
Before Empire returns this September for the final season, catch up anytime on demand or Fox Now.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here at HBC TV 25. Courtney Weinsteck is here. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You're a senior here at Winona State, so we'll go back a few years and ask you how it is that you got here to Winona State. What was the decision to come here? What was the thing that finally tipped the scales to say, I want to come here?
Sure. So I knew in high school that I wanted to play college soccer, so it was just a matter of determining where I would go. And I had a high school teammate actually who was committed to Winona, so I played 2 years with her. And then I saw that she was going to Winona, and then I was interested in talking with the coaching staff there. And once I visited, I just absolutely fell in love. It just felt like home. The scenery is beautiful, the campus is super nice, and I just knew that this was going to be the right place for me.
All right, so had you heard of Winona State before, or was this kind of new territory for you?
I had a little bit, but I had no idea really what it looked like, but it's just absolutely gorgeous, and I couldn't be happier with my decision.
All right, let's talk a little bit about your career here at Winona State. You're one of the rare people that have seen all 3 head coaches in Winona State history. Tell us a little bit about that and what it's been like to kind of adapt to the different coaching styles.
Sure. So when I committed here, I couldn't have known that I would go through 3 different coaching changes. I never could have predicted that, but going through it, it was a little frustrating because everything kept changing, but at the same time, I think as a group, it honestly made our whole team a lot closer and just added to our chemistry because honestly, we just had to lean on each other to get through it, and I feel like we adapted pretty well.
All right. Coach, when you saw what you had coming in a couple years ago, what did you see in Courtney that wanted you to put her on the field and have her be a leader on this team?
What I saw in Courtney was just a goal-scoring machine. You know, somebody who will attack defenses, who creates opportunities for us, and as hard as she works on the field, that's how much she cares about the program and her teammates off the field as well. So I knew she was going to be a great leader for us.
All right. One of the things, just looking at your stats throughout the years here at Winona State, always over 1,000 minutes on the field. Tell us about that kind of mentality about having to play that much and not wanting to come off the field.
Yeah, I mean, I just love playing soccer, and I want to make a difference for the team. So I like to maximize my minutes and go as long as I can go to try to produce for our team.
Okay. You picked up your first goal of the season against Northern Michigan. Tell us a little bit about that and what happened in that scoring opportunity.
Yeah, basically one of our other forwards, freshman Jada, played a early through ball in, and I kind of got on the end of it, and the goalie was coming out, but I just tapped it around her, and then I had an open net. So it felt really good to get a goal pretty early in this season, and then hopefully I'll just continue to build off that.
All right. You heard us talking about the early season, the scrimmages in the first couple of games. From the player perspective, how is this team coming together, and what do you need to do this week to be successful?
Sure. I think our team has looked really well ever since preseason. We have a lot of talent, and we've been getting better and better and kind of tweaking the things that we need to improve on. I think we just really need to focus defensively this week. We have 3 games and a lot of tough opponents coming up. So we just need to really be switched on the whole time and pay attention to the little details, and hopefully we get the results we want.
All right, so as we said, this is your senior season. What did you do this off-season to get ready for your last year of college soccer?
Sure. So one of our teammates, Taylor Johnson, she lives 20 minutes away from me. So we would work out every single morning together. We would go pretty early because we both had full-time jobs, so we were out on the field at 5 o'clock in the morning and get a workout in for an hour, hour and a half, make sure we followed the packet, made sure we were in shape, ran the fitness tests, and then went to our full-time jobs after. So it was definitely a lot of hard work, but definitely worth it, and we came in ready.
All right, last question. Do you have any goals that you've set for this season, for your last year?
Well, I want to make an all-conference team personally, and then as a team, definitely make the conference tournament, and then ideally the NCAA tournament as well.
All right, well, very good. Thank you for coming in today, and
Thank you.
good luck with all of that this year.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for joining us here on the Warrior Report. We'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.